Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is all about the full moon on February the 1st, 2016, how to understand its energies, how to work wonderfully with it. So just to start with, let me tell you where the sun and the moon are of this full moon. Moon in Vedic astrology is at 18 Cancer, and sun is at opposite at 18 Capricorn. And in Western astrology, moon is at 13 Leo and sun is at 13 Aquarius. Now, before I go deep into the wonderful Vedic and Western astrology of the energies of this full moon, I want to point to a particular factor that you might want to include in the wonderful work we each can do at the time of this full moon, which I'll sort of point to possibilities later on in this video. And each of us need to put aside time to tune into the energies of this full moon and do the needed work. But I wanted, first of all, to alert you to the fact that this full moon is at the time of the festival of Imbolc. Imbolc is a cross-quarter day. So it's midpoint between winter solstice and spring equinox. Winter solstice, which we had on December the 21st, is the shortest day, the death of the old sun, the birth of the new sun. And spring equinox is the day when the daylight is the same length as the night's darkness. But Imbolc is halfway between the two. Imbolc's actually on February the 2nd this year. And around the time of Imbolc, the energy we need to tune into is the beauty of bulbs shooting up out of the earth and shooting into leaf. It's the time of the birth of the first lambs, and we've seen a couple. It's the time of the lactation of the ewes. Now, these 8 great festivals were greatly valued round here in the west of Ireland, and the tombs of the ancient Neolithic people round here are so often orientated to the position of the sun on these days. And indeed, do see my Druid Forest School Sacred West of Ireland tours. Go to the tours page and you can see the wonderful tours I can take you on. So the ancient peoples round here and obviously across the world were so attuned to these energies. And so at this time, we too should take time to connect to the energies of this full moon and to ask ourselves, what is shooting now in our life now that we ourselves need to identify and nurture, just as the ewes feed their milk to the new lambs. Identify what's shooting now for you, what needs to shoot now. Investigate what's going on, identify what needs to shoot now. Go into its nature, value it, make the intention to progress it, to support its growth. It might be a new dimension of a new expression of yourself that you need to develop, for example. It might be a new project. It might be a new improvement in the way you work and balance things in your life. What would we, each of us, do well to foster from the time of this this full moon? Identify how to do the present energies, support, and how do the present energies block what we're trying to do? So that's like an important pointer to how to work with a lunation, the upcoming full moon in this case. But I would pick out one other particular energy in upcoming February astrology that we absolutely need to work with, and that's the Saturn conjunct Neptune energy. It's been growing all year. It's exact on the 20th of February at 6 Pisces Vedic, or 0 degrees 6 minute Western Aries. And indeed, please do see my video, which I filmed on the 3rd of January this year, about the full detail of Saturn conjunct Neptune and how to work with it so that we delve in to our visionary and intuitive capabilities, Neptune, and then we give them the structure and discipline they need, Saturn. And we do this at the time of this full moon on February the 1st. And indeed, do also see my upcoming video for February month astrology, where I go into detail about this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, as well as all the other Vedic and Western astrology for the month of February 2026. So, having made this important point, that we need to connect to, honour and work with Imbolc energies at the time of this full moon. Let's now look at the astrology of the full moon itself. So moon is at 18 Cancer in Ashlesha Nakshatra in Vedic astrology. Sun is at 18 Capricorn in Shravana Nakshatra. And in Western astrology, moon is at 13 Leo, Sun is at 13 Aquarius. What's the difference? Well, basically, Western astrology is all about our personality in this lifetime and its unfoldment. And Western astrology uses the tropical zodiac, which is based on the position of where the sun is on the day of spring equinox, which defines Northwestern Aries. But basically, Vedic astrology is a statement of our karmas from past lives and our fate and destiny in this life that we have to work with, our destiny direction. And Vedic astrology uses the sidereal zodiac, which is orientated to the fixed stars. So what does moon in Cancer tell us about the energies of this full moon of February the 1st? Well, in Vedic astrology, moon in Cancer is the strongest possible placement for the moon. It's its own sign. So moon energies are huge. This placement causes deep emotional awareness, intuitive awareness, nurturing, protective energies. Let's identify those at the time of this full moon and go into their nature. This full moon can give you strong connection to your inner world, your emotions, and it's also about valuing home and security. And where would that energy come from in your life, in your ancestry? With moon in Cancer, it's a very sensitive time, so do this work. Cancer water sign full moon gives you depth intuition if you put aside the time for it. Perception of your emotional undercurrents. What are your gut feelings about situations and yourself? Connect to these as part of your work with this full moon. The work I personally do at the time of new moon and full moon always includes intuitive techniques such as tarot and the runes, always a shamanic journey to shamanic drumming, and then when intentions and insights come up, cementing them in with the Norse process of sevir. And indeed, do look at my shamanic course on my Druid Forest School website and my Norse Spirituality and Runes course on my Druid Forest School website. So, what we need to decide on February the 1st or around that, what are our intuitive energy connection methods that we're going to use at the time of this full moon? What will we include? What will we do? As I said, the moon's at 18 Vedic Cancer. Now, Vedic astrology actually has a wonderful 27 sign lunar zodiac called the nakshatras. The declaration of each nakshatra is so needed if we're going to understand us and our life purpose and so forth. Now, this full moon is in the 9th of the wonderful 27 nakshatras, Ashlesha nakshatra. And a thing to pick out there is that Ashlesha's symbol is the serpent. And serpent energy was seen as divine in so very, very many ancient spiritualities across the world for various reasons. And for example, it's about serpents can shed skins, they can move fast when they need to, they can be decisive, they have very strong teeth, etc. So Ashlesha has that energy, but it also can connect to the energy that resides in our pelvis, at the base of our spine, and that can rise up through our chakras. And we can include that at this time of the full moon in Ashlesha on February the 1st. The spiritual process of moving this energy upwards as part of our full moon connection work can purify all our chakras. Okay, let's look at the sun. Well, the sun is at 18 Capricorn, Vedic Capricorn. And so the sun energy we'll feel at this time of full moon is grounded, disciplined, ambitious, serious, hardworking, pragmatic, patience that will bring rewards through hard work. And yeah, this can encourage us, saying, yeah, I can bring this into what I need to achieve and how I do it. But there's a twist to this tale that we absolutely need to know about managing sun energies at the time of this full moon. And indeed, going back over recent weeks. And that is that sun is overwhelmed by so many planets close to him. And he has been since the January new moon. So, if we look at Vedic Capricorn, Sun is at 18 degrees, Mars at 13 degrees, Pluto at 9 degrees, Venus at 25 degrees, Mercury at 26 degrees. And you may have felt the messy energies that arise because of these planets all putting each other in different ways. Now, in terms of planetary strength, I've got the graph in front of me. I'll try and show you it in my script. And the Sun has no strength points, whereas Mars has got 5 out of 5. So this is a time to boost your Sun, your divine charioteer who drives the chariot of self, holding in his hands the reins that go to the horses that pull the chariot, the other planets, and choosing the right road for the chariot to drive up. That's the Sun, and we need to strengthen it all around this time with so many planets, messing up the Sun, you could say, in some ways. But remember that Mars is super strong, Mars in Capricorn, and it's the warrior. And so you might want to include in your work connection with your warrior self, your spiritual warrior self, your successful, hard-working warrior self. And unfortunately, Jupiter's weak at -2. There's a Vedic measurement which I teach in my courses and include in my readings called Avashtas. And just for your awareness, Moon, Jupiter and Venus are Jagrat. Moon, Jupiter and Venus are wide awake, Jagrat, and able to express themselves. So you might want to take that into account in the work you do. Whereas Sun, Mercury and Saturn are Shvapna or sleepy. And as I said, it's so important to boost our Sun and our connection to the divine Sun and Sun planet energies. And another method I use in my wonderful readings, which always include your Vedic astrology as well as your Western astrology, is Rashi Avashtas, how your planets treat each other. Well, be aware, if you need to think this through, in the chart of this full moon, Sun trashes Mars and Venus. And we need to sort of undo that side of it. Moon trashes Mercury, Venus and Saturn very badly. And Mars boosts the Sun though, so that's good. But Mercury trashes Mars and Jupiter, so it's a mess, and you must have felt it surely over the last couple of weeks, all these planets. And it goes on, in fact, until the next lunation, the new moon eclipse on 17th February, with Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury and Rahu North Node all now in the next sign, Vedic Aquarius. We need to be aware of this over the next couple of weeks and a bit more, so that we just don't get absolutely dithered and in a mess and not able to concentrate, not able to complete work. So, if you want to see the charts for the monthly astrology, go to my Star Wheel Astrology website, and you'll see in the top drop down the word more and drop down to the monthly charts. So in this case, drop down to the February 26 chart. So I think I've ended this summary with a necessary bit of a warning about the sort of planetary mess we need to negotiate. But don't forget all the wonderful positive details I've already given. And do the intuitive and self-growth work at the time of this full moon, and do connect to the fact that we are in the ancient festival of Imbolc, the shooting of the flowers, the lactation of the ewes feeding their newborn lambs. And do also watch out for my video coming up shortly on February astrology as a whole, which will include other crucial to know factors like Chiron is conjunct Eris at this time in the Pisces Aries Gandanta, and that Sedna is conjunct Uranus, and much more. So yeah, try and do like a review of the energies I've described, and then decide on the wonderful self-development work you can do at the time of this Imbolc full moon. All blessings to our work at this psychic, spiritual time. Thank you.